Hey guys, here is the latest about the UFO threat, event, the big drone thing, the UAP things that are flying around. So what is it? So many of you have asked me to make a video about this. And guys, I really think, right? I mean, we're talking about natural disasters a lot, but if the aliens are invading Earth, I think we should talk about this. But are they? That is the big question, And that's why here's the latest news. So a month into this UFO alien local drone, government drone, military drone, whoever knows what drone debacle. And the geographic areas where these drone sightings are actually happening right now have drastically expanded. So if this is just a little stunt from one little government, gosh, they have a lot of drones everywhere, right? Or is this something where they're working together with other governments, or are the aliens working together? We're having a look into this, guys, because it's just not stopping, right? And of course, there's a lot of people now that have their own drones, and now they're starting to do some drone sightings and stuff, which is not true, which is BS, right? But the significance of many sightings has only increased since everything started. So it's not that this was a short-term phenomenon. And we know over the last few years that there have been sightings from credible sources, from military sources, from pilots. They saw stuff coming out of the water near San Diego and California and then go upright and then disappear. But what I always thought, well, why are the pictures not better, right? And then many people said, well, the pilots may not know about this technology, but this might be some top secret government stuff that even the pilots don't know. It's not UFOs, it's not aliens, right? But the stuff that's going on right now is a little weird, I have to say. So I want to show you a clip first. This has just happened a few days ago, where the White House has reassured people nothing to see here. The drones are a non-issue, no problem, right? Let's check this clip out.
Our assessment is that this is lawful, legal, commercial, hobbyist, and even law enforcement aircraft activity.
So since then, here are all the states where these objects, drones, whatever this is, have been seen over the last 5 weeks. So California, Connecticut, Florida, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Utah, Virginia, Wyoming. A lot of Americans do not believe these official stories because since then things have evolved, and for many this is with good reason. Let's have a look at a few more clips, because right now the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, just has restricted drone flights over parts of New Jersey through January, and they're threatening to use deadly force for any drones that deem a security threat. So look at this here.
The Federal Aviation Administration issued bans on flying drones in multiple cities across New Jersey, including several in our area, due to security reasons. These areas are all now considered national defense airspace. Here's a map of those sites: the city of Camden, Gloucester City, Winslow Township, Evesham, Hancock's Bridge in Lower Alloways Township in Salem County, West Hampton, Burlington, and Hamilton. Unmanned aircraft are not allowed in those areas through January 17th unless approved by the federal government. The FAA says pilots who violate the airspace, meaning pilots on the ground as well, may be detained and interviewed by law enforcement. The agency warns that the U.S. government may use deadly force against drones it deems an imminent threat. These restrictions come just days after the FBI released a joint government statement saying most of the reported drone sightings were just airplanes, manned drones, and stars in the sky. Action News is trying to get answers on why the FAA made this sudden move.
Sounds somewhat reasonable, guys, but I don't know how you feel. They lost me when they were telling us stars in the sky. I mean, the stars are in the sky every day and do not suddenly appear like what we're seeing all over the place and what people are recording, right? So there must be some reason. I always know, yeah, if this has been announced that this is happening, there's people all over the world that are now letting their drones fly, and many people see these drones and think this is something suspicious and report it. But if we take away all this, there is still something that has not been fully explained as of yet, but there are various theories. And guys, sorry for the noise you hear in the background. That I don't know how to explain it. It's not snoring, but that's my dog, Apollo. And for those of you who don't know, that's why I'm in an RV, to get to his cancer treatment, radiation treatment, that you guys have made possible with the coffees that you keep buying me on my buymeacoffee.com site and through the supers here. That just on a side note, I'm very, very grateful for that. And if you want to know the why and how and whatever, I have a playlist, RV Travel to Save My Dog's Life. So check it out. But back to the UFOs, the UAPs. President-elect Donald Trump has said the following about this.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey and ports? It seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster.
Will you shoot them down?
They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster.
And here's what President Biden said about the drones just recently. So he finally commented on that.
Follow those continued reports of unmanned aircraft sightings all across the eastern part of the United States. Now, President Joe Biden gave his first public remarks on the matter, saying there's really nothing alarming about this. Listen.
There's nothing nefarious, apparently, but they're checking it all out. I think it's just one. There's a lot of drones authorized up there. I think one started and they all got it. Everybody wanted to get in the deal. But we're following it closely. So far, no sense of danger.
So if I'm honest, I'm not really sure what he's saying. He says it's just one, and then everyone wanted to get into the deal. So one that is unexplained, but who else wanted to get into the deal? The other ones are authorized. I'm not sure, guys. I really can't explain it. So you have to make your own interpretation. Let me know in the comments what you think. But in the meantime, there's more information coming in, and I want to show you this. I mean, guys, look at this. This is where drones have been flying over. So Utah, California, Arizona, in New Jersey, of course, another one in New Jersey, and Langley, Virginia. So we're not only talking about New Jersey. So the number of U.S. military bases that are experiencing significant overflights is really surprising, and should it be concerning? And this is interesting footage. So there was a press conference today with the Pentagon press secretary, and the reporters, basically nobody could make sense of the idea that if these drones are indeed like hobby people letting them fly, or just a combination of hobby people, commercial or law enforcement drones, why members of Congress needed a classified briefing on this topic. And listen to what he says.
Just why does it have to be a classified briefing if these are just hobbyist drones, they're not military drones? Why is it a classified briefing on the Capitol Hill?
I don't. I'd have to refer you to Congress on that. Again, sharing as much information as we can here. I don't have the briefing in front of me, so I can't tell you specifically, what aspects are classified or not. I can assure you, though, that again, we are sharing as much information as we can based on what we know.
Yeah, based on what we know, that's what he is saying. But what do you know? Here's an interesting clip with investigative journalist Michael Schellenberger, and he isn't buying the official story. So watch this.
Not about danger, aliens. It's about why there isn't danger. How do you know? Why can't he explain that? Independent journalist Michael Schellenberger says, listen, the government isn't being straight with us, and there's a reason. He's out with a new report on this on his Substack.
Before I show you his answer, so this is basically, is Biden telling the truth? And if he's not, why is he hiding it? Or does he even not know? And then why does he not know? And then it gets really, really interesting.
Why do you think they're not being straight with us?
Well, look, I think in that one clip you just showed, Biden does something very similar that Defense Department spokesperson John Kirby did last week, which is that they say on the one hand, they say, we're looking into it. Then 3 days later, Kirby said, okay, we've looked into it, implying that they had looked into nearly 6,000 cases in about 2 or 3 days, which is very difficult to believe.
So guys, while I'm making this video, what you hear in the background is I'm making some German schnitzel. I need to eat something while I'm making all these videos, so I have to save time. Just quickly, so that you understand this, Biden says in his interview, well, basically they don't really know, they have to look into this. And then just shortly after, they say they looked into this, 6,000 sightings. And that's what makes this so hard to believe it, but let's continue.
I've been asking the FBI and the DOD and the DHS, FAA for the data. They won't share it with me. Biden similarly said, yeah, we looked into it. There's nothing to worry about, and we're still looking into it. So you sort of see these two things going on. They say they're looking into it, but they already looked into it. That's one of the many fishy things. The other one is that they'll sort of say, well, we know that there's nothing to worry about and there's no anomalies. And then other times they'll say, we know there's nothing to worry about, but we haven't figured out what all the drone incursions are.
So they are not consistent with what they tell the public, right? So nothing to worry about. They do know, but nothing to worry about. We don't know. So what now? We don't know. We still don't know. It's not consistent, but let's continue.
Chris, I think it's important for people to know that this has evolved from being a story about ordinary citizens seeing very unusually shaped drones or so-called drones, unidentified drones, over their homes in New Jersey, to really a broader question of why have they been letting all these drone incursions occur over U.S. military bases? I didn't realize how prevalent this was.
And now we will look at that military map again. And I told you it's been in the US, but it's not only been in the US. So if this is nothing to worry about, why do they allow it? And here might be an explanation or a theory.
It's Langley for 17 days. This was written up in the Wall Street Journal last month. 17 days of being able to stop unidentified drones flying over Langley.
So listen, 17 days. So if they don't know what it is, they allowed it for 17 days?
Also Picatinny Arsenal, Naval Weapons Station Earl, 4 separate U.S. military bases in Britain, 1 military base in Germany, Camp Pendleton, one of the most important Marine Corps bases in Southern California, Air Force Plant 42 Skunk Works, where they developed the stealth bomber, where they're developing stealth fighters, Hill Air Force Base in Utah, the Minuteman silos in Northeast Colorado.
That's probably not some hobby guy flying his drone, right?
It's just a partial list of all the places where they have had uncontrolled drone incursions. The idea that that's not something you would worry about is absurd. Controlling airspace has been one of the main goals of the Air Force since World War II. It's a pride of the Air Force that they control the airspace.
So wouldn't they shoot it down if they don't know what it is? And if it's some secret government operation that even the military doesn't know about, then they also would shoot it down. Or wouldn't they? Or what? It's really, really strange, guys, but it gets weirder.
And of course, the base commanders have been worried about this. They've been developing counter drone technologies. It's not working. So I think, look, not to bury the lead a little bit here, but the U.S. military doesn't control U.S. airspace either over homes in New Jersey or over our most sensitive military installations.
And listen to this again, the briefing today. If these drones are all lawful and legal, so why are we talking about shooting them down?
The government, they say, may use, quote, deadly force against the drones if they pose an imminent security threat. Who would shoot them down if it came to it? Would that be DoD assets?
So a couple things. So first of all, I would note that that is standard security language included in national security NOTAMs and temporary flight restrictions. So FAA certainly could talk to you more about that. And as you've heard us say, we're going to work closely with the FBI, DHS, FAA to make sure that we're harmonizing our on-base efforts with anything that they're doing off-base. And the bottom line is that our forces, our commanders, if they observe UAS activity that they believe represents a threat, they have the authority to conduct mitigation operations based on the capability at their location. And as I highlighted, one of those capabilities could be the non-kinetic, interruption of signals, for example.
So I had Crenshaw and Berra on the other night with Republican and Democrat, both saying that they want to deal with this. Both of them came out at the classified session saying, look, I don't think that these are bad actors that are up there. And I think this is really about the government not having its game together in terms of who's supposed to deal with this. And maybe we have to do something as Congress to create standards and create funding for the kinds of detection systems that they don't have now and figure out what the system of hierarchy is.
Well, imagine, guys, those are really aliens or the enemies, and you don't know what your hierarchy is to deal with them. That's why you let them be and let them do what they're doing for like weeks. That is hard to believe, but at least police in New Jersey took matters in their own hands, at least somewhat. Watch.
Tonight, the investigation into reports of small car-sized drones hovering over New York and New Jersey is deepening.
Oh, it's slowing down.
Tonight, authorities in Toms River, New Jersey, launching their own drone offensive for a closer look. Their eye in the sky, capturing one of the drones in motion.
You're not targeting or going after them, so to speak. Is there a methodology and reason why?
Well, right now we just want to identify what it is.
So the police obviously doesn't know what it is, so they have not been briefed by anyone, and it's obviously not them who are flying these drones. They have drones, but not that large, so watch.
The way it was explained, they're 2 feet bigger than our drones, or 2 times the size rather, so they're about 4 feet, and it looks like it's a fixed wing type craft. What concerns us mostly is that at this point nobody's seen any of these units taking off or landing.
And here comes the very interesting thing, guys. At least that's what I think. Let me know what you think. Nobody has seen them start or landing. 6,000 drone sightings, and nobody saw that. There were reports in the San Diego area that they're coming out of the ocean and that they're shooting straight up. But other than that, nothing. And that is weird, don't you think?
It's a significant threat to U.S. national security.
Retired 4-star general and NBC News military analyst Barry McCaffrey tells NBC News there's good reason why local and federal agencies are treading carefully.
Well, I would definitely call that a security threat if you look at the locations where these drones are appearing.
When you see something of this capacity, you wonder why it would be needed. What are they doing? It implies a heavy payload, and a heavy payload would be either something dangerous, a bomb, but in this case, surveillance of some sort.
And that is interesting what he says here, some payload of some sort. So these drones seem to be capable to carry bombs. Is this a test? And now he says it's surveillance. But how can he be sure? That is also the question that I would like to ask him. How can he be sure that these drones are not carrying anything?
Look what's back again. Same spot as last night.
Meanwhile, more sightings of the large drones continue to proliferate social media. New Jersey resident Michael Marciano capturing these images on Saturday.
Coming right above my house. Really fast now.
Growing concern as the mystery in the sky continues. George Solis, NBC News, Toms River, New Jersey.
Let's get back to these two guys for a moment when they're talking about who has the authority to deal with this.
I mean, of course, I agree that they need to sort out who has the power to go after these drones. You do want some local and state authority to be able to go after them. But I mean, Chris, if we really thought that those drones were threatening people, then they would have scrambled fighter jets, and there's all this concern about, oh, the dangers of knocking them down. Look, I agree on the one hand. I don't think there's any evidence that the drones are being controlled by a foreign power.
Okay, but then whose drones are they? Because now they show up in other countries as well.
Republicans and Democrats alike are demanding more transparency, some calling it outrageous and concerning. The drone sightings are no longer limited to New Jersey. Now there are other states, including New York and Connecticut, where state police just deployed a drone detection system. Just moments ago, White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby was asked once again to try to explain this all.
You know, one thing, if the government really doesn't know what this is or where they're coming from, then this is a worldwide public embarrassment for the U.S. So would they really risk that? It just still doesn't make sense.
I wish I could tell you exactly why we don't have an answer for you here, but I can tell you that we are working on it very, very hard to know, because we want to answer those questions the same as those folks in New Jersey want answers to them.
Today, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy formally requested additional resources from the Biden administration to help figure out just what is behind this activity. Federal officials insist there's no threat to the public, saying many of the reported sightings are actually just normal airplanes and helicopters.
And stars in the sky.
People are certainly mistakenly identifying airplanes, but we should point out it is not just the tinfoil hat brigade saying drones are out there in the sky and acting strange. Elected officials say they've seen the drones. The U.S. Coast Guard says it has encountered the drones. And today, a U.S. Navy base in New Jersey says it has spotted, quote, several instances of unidentified drones entering the airspace.
So here's the thing, guys. Here's my 2 cents. If it's the U.S., then you let these things fly, you know people will see them. Then you should have a reasonable explanation for them, whatever that is, or it looks really embarrassing and people are really getting angry, and that's what's actually happening right now if you watch here.
There has to be some explanation to the public for all this increased activity, and they must do so now.
And yet, there hasn't been, even as the federal government says there's no evidence of any national security or public safety threats. And there have been growing calls for answers as drone sightings continue in New Jersey, and now also the New York metropolitan area.
They must immediately disclose more information to the public. It's totally and completely unacceptable. New Jersey can't become the Wild West of drone activity. No state can become the Wild West of drone activity.
Well, it's rather the Wild East. But what all these authorities that are supposed to give the answers, including the presidents, are saying is basically nothing. They're all behaving as if you caught your husband doing something he's not supposed to do. And then he's trying to very, very quickly find an excuse. And, you know, as a woman, we look through this very, very quickly and we can see if something is just mumbling and fumbling because they don't want to tell the truth. And in my humble opinion, I think this is the case here.
It's now been a month since some of the first drones were reported near a military installation in northern New Jersey. Since then, there have been dozens of reported sightings, as some federal officials throw cold water on some of those reports.
We have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings.
And if they don't know what it is, why don't they shoot one down and investigate it and find out what it is? It does not make sense. And so many theories arise because of that, because they're not giving a clear answer. So that gives rise to so many versions of everything. And let's go through what is out there right now and how likely it is as an explanation that we could accept. So here is theory number one. Is it the US military or is it the US government? Are they the architects behind all this? And are they putting this all into secrecy? So there have been drones seen near military bases like the Picatinny Arsenal. So the US might be testing new tech, or they might be conducting a covert surveillance, because military sources have acknowledged these sightings, but not the operations, which is kind of weird. So Congressman Tom Keene Jr. from New Jersey has questioned the government's silence. Why are you so silent? And suggesting that there might be some secretive testing going on. And the lack of official disclosure, that they're refusing to tell us what it is, could imply something unprecedented or something highly sensitive, perhaps even something the public isn't ready for. And that would mean it's not US military, it's not US government tech, it is the aliens. Because are we not ready for this? The weird thing is, we've been hearing about this for a month, now even years, and we're all like, whatever, I go on with my life sort of thing. Shouldn't we all be more like, whoops? Or, with everything that's going on, we just don't believe it anymore? Here's theory number two. So is it just hobby guys with their drones, or commercial drones? Is that what's going on? So there's over 1 million drones in the sky basically every day. And could this be an unprecedented gathering of some people that have joined together to pull this off? Or is this some commercial operation? It's, in my opinion, highly unlikely, but the FAA statistics on drone registrations show a significant increase in drone usage. But the thing is, I have a drone as well. If we see these drones in the sky, we basically know what it is because many of us have one or have seen one, right? We know how they look. What we've seen here in the videos looks a little different. There's drone industry experts. For example, Brendan Schulman, he's the former VP at DJI. That's the leading company for these hobby drones or commercial drones for people that are shooting videos, commercial videos and stuff like this. They have discussed the potential for large-scale private drone events. But I think if that was the case, by now, after that amount of time, we would know. I really think. Because what we're seeing here is very sophisticated, is very synchronized, right? And these flights seem to go far beyond the capabilities or intentions of these typical drone enthusiasts or even businesses. So what about theory number three, the law enforcement? What's going on with them? Are they just silent observers? Why are they not doing anything? So drones now belong or are an integral part of modern policing. So they do have drones. They're using drones for surveillance, for crowd surveillance, for crowd control. Could these drones be some operations to combat some threat that we don't know of? So there are statements from local law enforcement acknowledging the drone use for various purposes, though not specifically when these sightings took place. So they have not said, that's us. New Jersey State Police, they have noted an increase of drone usage for public safety, but without linking it to the current mystery. So also they are not acknowledging that it's them. And New Jersey, what about all the other states? For me, this is a highly unlikely theory. Of course, law enforcement is kind of silent as well. They're not denying and they're not admitting. So could that suggest that there's a covert operation or something going on that's unrelated to routine policing? Maybe. I still think that's not the explanation for this. Theory number 4, Iranians. Is it the audacity of the Iranians? So Congressman Jeff Van Drew has suggested that Iranian drones from a sort of mothership that is off the coast of the US is testing US defenses. Oh, where is the mothership? Question mark, right? So he claims that based on high level, very qualified sources, that this is the case, but he didn't name the sources. So it leaves a lot of question marks. Again, there's Pentagon officials, including Pat Ryder, who outright rejected that story and theory. And it doesn't really make sense. California, all over the place, and not only the US. So Iran doesn't have the resources to pull this off, in my opinion. And what you hear in the background, guy, it's the aliens coming. Do you hear it? The RV is shaking. No, it's just a train that is running multiple times a day behind that campground. But it sounds intense and stuff is really shaking. So I better wait till that's over. Theory number 5, that train must be so long, but doesn't it create a little bit of an atmosphere, right? So I'll just continue. So number 5, is it copycats and pranksters? Also, I think we would know by now. We know there's viral phenomenons, and I said it in the beginning. Yes, I'm sure there's people that are building drones or trying to make them look different to prank people. But, sure, after the initial sightings, everything was on social media. It could have inspired a wave of copycat drone flights, and I am sure it has, and some have been found and proven to be. But X, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all these platforms, the users are discussing their involvement into these drone flights for fun, but what they would have to do, the technical skills and the technical features that these drones would have to have, including the coordination system, that is too advanced for the mere pranks, period. Number 6, many are talking about this. Project Bluebeam. Is this the conspiracy theory of the century, or is it not? So some believe that these drones could be a part of a grand deception to manipulate public perception or to simulate an alien event. So make us believe that the aliens are here and it's something completely different, right? So there's a lot of theories that are going around on Reddit and social media that are discussing this, right? Officials call this conspiracy theory. There's lack of credible evidence for this theory. Right now, it sounds more like science fiction than reality, but honestly, we do not know because the officials are behaving a little bit or very weird. If they would be more transparent, maybe these theories would not surface as they're surfacing. Really, if it's manned aircraft, whatever it is, they need to take off and land somewhere. Someone is inside of them. So who is it? If nobody knows who it is, it gets weirder. These explanations just do not make sense. Number 7, theory number 7. Is it just an aircraft? Is it a misidentified aircraft? Hard to believe, right? Because there's so many sightings. The FAA and also local authorities have suggested that numerous sightings could be due to misidentification. And I absolutely don't doubt that. But that many? Because they do not account for the confirmed drone sightings, right? Especially those where we have video evidence. There's just no explanation. On the theory number 8, do we have some silent innovators? Is this some corporate stuff that they have invented and that they're secretly testing, or is it meant to be for industrial use? Doesn't really make sense because it is so widespread and synchronized, right? So that is something that's beyond typical commercial activity. Theory number 9, is the dragon spying on the US? Is it China? Well, if the sightings only were happening in the US, but they're now happening in other countries as well, well, this might be just a distraction. But let's hear that theory. So there's increasing tensions between the US and China. We've all seen the spy balloons that were going over Canada and then the US. So espionage from China through drones absolutely makes sense. That's a theory that absolutely makes sense, and it could be a method to gather intelligence on American infrastructure and on infrastructure of other countries for sure as well, and checking out their military capabilities, right? We know many people say Chinese own a lot of farmland close to military bases surrounding important strategic structures in the US. So do they have direct access from there, can start their drones from there? This is something makes sense. China's technology when it comes to drones is very, very advanced. There's lots of shows where you can see that they have synchronized drones events and stuff like this. So all of that fuels this theory. But then there's the other enemy. Theory number 10, is it Russia? We've got the conflict in Ukraine. So Russia might be probing NATO and US defenses. That would explain that it's not only in the US. Does that make sense? Yeah, drones are a new tool in their arsenal. So how sophisticated are these drones? Are they working together with China? Who knows? No specific Russian officials have commented on these drone sightings, and security analysts like those from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, they're discussing Russia's interest in testing Western responses, especially nuclear responses. But you know, what is speaking against that theory is that these covert operations would be met with swift retaliation, wouldn't they? You know, unless they would be conducted with extreme caution and through proxies. And that's the question, right? Why are they not shot down then, all of them, if that's China or Russia?
They're just pacing back and forth, going very slow.
Since last month, dozens of drones mysteriously hovering in the Jersey skies at night. Olivia DiMatteo owns a coffee shop near where the drones have been spotted.
They are the size of small cars, like almost like a Mini Cooper or a Ford Escape size.
There is a bunch of red lights floating in the sky.
And then there's another interesting theory because there's missing nuclear material. You might have heard about this. So there was an incident in early December this year. There was a piece of medical equipment that contained germanium-68. The short is GE-68, and that went missing during transit in New Jersey. So this event coincided with the drone sightings, and that's why it has sparked these theories. And so what are these theories? Is there a connection to the drones? It might make sense, and here's why. So you could use drones that are equipped with radiation detectors, and they could start searching for this material to find it. And it would make sense that we have a lot of these sightings in New Jersey because that's where the material has disappeared. But the thing is, the amount of dangerous material that has disappeared is so small, you would not be able to build a dirty bomb with this. So why all this effort? Why, making this so public, these sightings and all the, the press, if you have this technology, and why would you use it on such a small amount that cannot turn out to be dangerous? Or is this just a front? Are they telling people that they're looking for this, but are they actually looking for something else? That is the big question that arises for me from this story. So they're saying these drones might be equipped with these detectors to prevent this material from being used for a dirty bomb, but we know there's not enough material, or they say we just want to locate it for safety reasons. The Belleville Mayor Michael Melham has speculated in the news that drones might be looking for something. That makes sense. They might be looking for something, but for what? Of course, he said potentially this radioactive material, but so much fuss for that? The CEO of Saxon Aerospace, John Ferguson, has released something on TikTok. I mean, it is weird these days, right? You're releasing your speculations on TikTok. That drones that are flying low, that they could be sniffing out something. Yeah, we get that, right? That's what we all suspect. But what is it? He says something like radioactive substances or gas leaks. Well, gas leaks, right, guys? Come on. That will be public by now. The government has some problem with some gas pipes. No, I mean, if it's foreign adversaries sniffing out, finding out where are the nuclear weapons, where are the arsenals, maybe, right? But gas leaks, no, I don't believe this. There are reports from the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission about this missing material. But if they're just searching for missing material, here's the latest that just came out today. The U.S. military is sending counter-drone systems to New Jersey. So drone busters, if you see the pictures, it really looks like they have revitalized the Ghostbuster guys, right? So if this is some government operation that is searching for something or sniffing something out, are you sending the military to shoot them down? Or are you saying that you do just to divert us from believing whatever? This gets really complicated, guys. I really don't know, but the U.S. military has confirmed recent drone activity around their bases in New Jersey, and the Pentagon said this week that it has sent counter-drone technology to 2 installations. And one of these systems has been identified as a system that is really called the Drone Buster. It's really called like this. That's what you see in the picture. That is this handheld electronic warfare tool. So get this, really get this. The Pentagon is arming 2 military installations in New Jersey with counter-drone technology, giving them extra tools to better defend their airspace from any unauthorized drone incursions.
This video was taken by archaeologist Colin Rambo a couple of weeks ago in Lemon Grove.
I was driving down the street, just right down the street from my house here, and I pulled my car over because I saw what looked like a fleet of glowing red orbs.
Last night, someone called our CBS 8 newsroom with reports of a large drone sighting above the SR 125 freeway.
There are drones all over the sky.
And this video was taken 3 nights ago in Temecula.
We eventually saw one really fairly close, and it was just about the size of a car.
The military has confirmed these drone sightings at Picatinny Arsenal and naval weapons stations early this month, and as well as multiple sightings at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, with drones at one point really forcing the base to close its airspace. So a spokesperson for the Joint Staff said last weekend that drone activities over military bases are not a new thing, so that happens quite often. But they have criticized some of the recent incidents as irresponsible. So this sounds like they think it's just some hobby pilots. But then you sent the drone busters. You could just send a sniper to shoot that thing down, right? I mean, my neighbors are doing this, right? There's always these realtors that hire these guys with the drones that are flying over some properties that they want to list. And then they fly over neighboring properties to get a better angle. And so they try to shoot them down, and they have been quite successful with this.
Threat.
But here you go, a specific threat. How do you know if it's a threat if you don't know what it is? You tell the people it's not a threat, but you also say you don't know what it is. You get what I mean?
Not telling us.
And guys, here is the last theory. I don't think I need to introduce these buddies. If it's them, we will know pretty soon, or we won't, or Shizzy's going to hit the fizzy. Who knows, guys? But I think you have a good overview now. I hope you liked this video, even if it was a longer one. So please leave it a like, share it with your friends, help me push it out through the algorithm. So thanks for watching. It was a pleasure to have you here. Maybe you want to subscribe. Maybe you want to even become a channel member for our exclusive group for behind the scene videos of weird things, but also of nice things. And of course, with lots of updates at the moment, a lot about Apollo because he's fighting cancer. That's why we had to go to Washington State University for radiation therapy. And my viewers here, you have made that possible, that we can be here, that we can do this, because the vet bill is monstrous. So guys, thanks so much. If you want to support Apollo, the link is in the description of this video at my buymeacoffee.com site. So thanks so much. I hope to see you soon in another video. Bye-bye.